Welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation. Be your host, Owen James. Guys, let's first start off with an apology. I had to move the podcast to tonight from last night. GCSE revision drama here in the house. With my 16-year-old daughter staying with me, she's got GCSEs. Needed to prioritise that last night, supporting her with that. So that's why obviously we had to move the podcast to Wednesday night. So please join us obviously tonight for the pod. Now, we've got lots to get through in this video this afternoon, this evening, this morning, whenever you choose to watch the content. It's fantastic. So many of you tuned in yesterday to check out what was happening. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about that Alex Rae, Fabio Silva incident. We're also going to talk a little bit more about how could Rangers come up with a bit of a plan B, a bit of a sneaky attack, a bit of a change of shape, a bit of a change of formation, a bit of a change of emphasis to try and trick out that lot from across the city. And we're also going to talk as well about what Stuart McCall, former Rangers player and manager, has been saying as regards Dujon Sterling and how he may have a critical role in helping Rangers to be successful on Saturday. So let's start off with talking about a story that we mentioned yesterday. The rumour, the suggestion that Alex Rae and Fabio Silva had come to blows during an argument in the dressing room or in somewhere in the back areas of Ibrox after the celebration by Fabio Silva. Now, this celebration, which, I think Fabio can say what he wants, but we all have our own views on it. And, as I said on the video yesterday, I don't think that, no matter what he says, there will be some fans who have very staunch views on it and very staunch beliefs on it. But standing in front of the Broomloan, going like that, then going like that is not really the most sensible thing in the world to do, Fabio. Now, Four Lads had a dream put out a tweet yesterday and a communique yesterday saying that as far as they were concerned, there were absolutely no truth in the rumours as regards Alex Rae and Fabio Silva. That was a complete fantasy. That's what their exact words were. Now, I fully respect Stevie Clifford. Stevie Clifford is fantastic, brilliant on Rangers. Absolutely brilliant. Would love to work with him. Don't know why he won't work with me, but hey ho. So look, I think, there is a lot of mischief. Let's address this. I think we're going into a period of the season where it is so crucial. We have 3 games remaining in this post-split world. Obviously starting with Celtic on Saturday at Parkhead, then obviously going to Dundee before obviously finishing against Hearts, and then the cup final. So there is so much at stake. There is effectively 4 cup finals. I know there's only technically 1 in name, but technically 4 big, massive cup finals. And I think what we've got to kind of live in a world of, and I know that we'll be accused of everything here. We'll be accused of conspiracy theory. We'll be accused of crying. We'll be accused of making stuff up. We'll be accused of exaggerating. Of course we will, because that's what Rangers fans are always accused of, and we've always gone through that belief. I think as Graham Souness said back in the 80s, everyone hates us, we don't care. I think there is very much a narrative within the media as regards the club, and that narrative is to try and cause as much trouble, to take any stories that can be taken to spin those stories in such a way that it could cause possible disruption to Rangers, that it could cause possible trouble amongst Rangers players, fans, etc., to decrease the synergy between the fans and the players. And I think the media will always do their very best to do that. You've only got to look at the situation over the weekend where obviously you've got the Fabio Silva, Alex Rae story, you've got the Todd Cantwell story, and then you've got Callum McGregor looking like he stamped deliberately on a Hearts player, which could have broken the player's leg. That is completely ignored. That is not brought up. That is not talked about, in particular in the Scottish media. What is talked about, like I said, is the Alex Rae Fabio Silva incident, the Todd Cantwell a bird can't fly comment, the penalty, which was a penalty, which has just caused a ridiculous amount of outrage. Philippe Clement's response to Brendan Rodgers, which which absolute tools like Michael Stewart have come out and made ridiculous comments on. It is quite unbelievable, I think, and it's like I've touched on many times before on these videos, and go back and check it out. And it's not just Michael Stewart who is an absolute tool, or Chris Sutton who is absolutely one of the worst pundits in football history. I've had a go at Chris Boyd as well. The media in Scotland kind of turn this into a pantomime all the time. It's a kind of a good guy, bad guy, boo Rangers, yay Celtic. That seems to be the the overriding theme that runs through the media. There does seem to be a natural bias towards one side over the other. I was talking to one of my friends today at work, and he's a Leicester City fan, and and he was talking about the fact that one team does seem to be favoured over the other up here, and that's a neutral point of view from someone who doesn't have an axe to grind in this competition, in this league title. So look, I believe Stevie and the boys that there's no truth in this Alex Rae Fabio Silva fight, but at the same time, I think the media are very much trying to create as much mischief as they can around what is happening with Rangers. There does seem to be a kind of propaganda style support for the other side of the city, and maybe I'm exaggerating here, maybe I'm putting 2 and 2 together here and getting 5, or maybe I don't know what, but it just seems to me that is the way it is going, looking at it from south of the border. And yeah, of course I'm biased. I'm a Rangers man. I love the club, I love the players, I love the fans, I love everything about our club. This is my club. This is cut me in half, I bleed red, white, and blue. That's just the way things are. But look, that's just how I see it. Let me know what you think. I'd love to know your views on this and what you think about the way the media spin things in Scotland towards our great club. Now, one of the things that Rangers have failed to do, and I spoke about this on the video yesterday, I spoke about this on the Drop John Lundstrom video, is dominate the midfield. Now, if you're going to win a game of football, you have to wrestle control of the midfield. If you can wrestle control of the midfield, you protect your defense, you open things for your attack, you control the game of football, and that's the way forward. Now, in recent times, in Old Firm games, since 55, in recent seasons, we've allowed them to take control of the game. And Callum McGregor, nothing against Callum McGregor, well, everything against Callum McGregor, actually. He's a very fine footballer. He's a good player. As much as that pains me to say, and it hurts me to say, the fact that he is a good footballer, we let him run the game. We let him control the tempo of the game. We let him pretty much do what he wants. And yes, I know to some degree refs do kind of let him get away with stuff and let him run the game. There is an element of that. I do understand that. But by that same token, we are very weak in that area. And, John Lundstrom, I think, helps contribute to that. He does hide in Old Firms. He doesn't really get into Callum McGregor. McGregor is allowed pretty much a free reign of Celtic Park or of Ibrox. We allow rumours to influence. We allow, obviously, Matt O'Reilly to influence. But, the key thing for Celtic's midfield is stopping Callum McGregor. You stop Callum McGregor, you stop Celtic. It's a well-known fact. Now, former Rangers player Stuart McCall has been speaking about a possible way to actually stop McGregor, to stop him controlling the game, stop him running the game, to get him under control and help Rangers to win this Old Firm game. And it's a theory that I kind of advance. I'm not saying that I'm any cleverer than Stuart McCall, but I'm just saying it's something that we've already kind of touched on here. But it's interesting to see, an actual pundit, an actual former player, manager, speaking about, Dujon Sterling and what Dujon Sterling can bring to the Old Firm game on Saturday. Now, Dujon Sterling, for me, absolute class act. Absolutely love the lad. We'll talk a bit about that in a moment. But this is what Stuart McCall had to say. He told BBC Scottish Football Podcast, if, like people were saying, McGregor was back to his best for Celtic, apparently, and pulling the strings. That's obviously speaking about the game at the weekend where, we can talk about the stamp and how he should have been sent off. But, hey, it's Callum McGregor. He gets away with murder. I'd like to see somebody to go and sort him out. And for me, Sterling can do that. He can go and play and sit on somebody who's going to try to dictate the tempo of the game. Now, let's get away from one thing. Stuart McCall is not saying that Dujon Sterling should go and kick Callum McGregor all over the pitch, kick him up a height, stop him playing by kicking 7 bells out of him. That is not what he is getting at here. Okay, sort him out in terms of stopping him from playing. That is what Stuart McCall is getting at, okay? Before anyone complains from the other side of the city, before any neutrals who watch these videos, and there seem to be a few, complain that we're talking about kicking a player. Okay, that's not what we're talking about. He very much believes that Sterling has the ability, has the engine, the legs, the talent to go and actually stop a player from playing, for taking a key player out of the game. Now, if you look across Europe and you look across teams that are very tactically aware and teams that are very tactically astute, and managers that are very tactically aware and tactically astute, they will often try and take out the opposition playmaker by putting someone on them that can go and destroy, that can go and stop them from playing. that, wherever they go, this player goes too. Every time he touches the ball, that player is in his face. Every time he gets anywhere near the ball, that player is stood next to him. Now, Sterling has the engine, has the legs to be able to obviously get around the park, to put McGregor under pressure no matter where he is. He knows how to tackle. He's defensively aware. The fact that he's been a fullback, he's been a centre half, he's played central defensive midfield. He has that defensive awareness. Sterling is one of our best players and has been one of our best players this season. Wherever you put Dujon Sterling, the lad puts in massive effort. He's phenomenal. And I would love to see Dujon put into a situation where he can take Callum McGregor out of the game on Saturday. If Sterling can stop him from playing, I honestly believe that therefore that will give the likes of Diamande, Cantwell, Lawrence, whoever it is, the license to go and create, the license to go and be free and actually create the chances to win us the game. Sterling is an absolute key for me, and he was someone I'd love to see put onto Callum McGregor. Something I have mentioned before on videos before, and obviously something that Stuart McCall is now saying in that comment, and a comment that he made on BBC Football Scotland podcast. Guys, let me know what you think. Is Sterling the man to take McGregor out of the game? I honestly think he is. I think he's got the talent, the ability, the legs, the defensive ability, tackling ability, and I also think that once he gets the ball, he has now the distribution ability to get forward, to play the ball to Diamande, to allow Diamande to go and create and play in Cantwell, play in Lawrence, play in McCausland, whoever's playing out wide on Saturday. Now, a lot of people have spoken about the fact that Philippe Clement, needs a plan B. There's a lot of time where we've kind of been seen as been a tad predictable. We play with a 4-3-2-1 formation, and no matter what we do, no matter which players come on, we always seem to stick to that 4-2-3-1 formation. It's always the way. No matter what, that is the shape we stick to. Celtic will be preparing for that this week. Celtic will be getting ready to face us. To play the 4-2-3-1 formation. Now, one of the things that is kind of missing at this moment in time is natural wide players. Now, Seema is out. There's talk of him possibly being back. Who knows what the situation is there with that one. McCausland, we do have, obviously, Sterling can play there, but he's not really an out-and-out winger, and I think he's better off in central midfield or defence. People have spoke about the fact that could Clement come up with a bit of a plan B? Could he come up with a bit of a kind of curveball to kind of to catch Celtic off guard? Could he go for a formation change? Now, I think, looking back across Philippe Clement's managerial career, it's highly unlikely, but that got me thinking, how could Rangers line up to perhaps, be effective to change things up a little bit and sort of cover over some of the weaknesses we've got, cover over some of the injuries we've got, like I said, in terms of the fact that we have very few wingers now. Obviously, no Cortez, no Seaman, no Matondo. Yes, we do have McCausland, but there is, our core of our key wingers, our top wingers are missing and not fully fit. So I had a little think about it, and I went for this 3 at the back that a lot of people are talking about. And, I've seen the women's team use it. I've seen the under-18s use it. And I think it's a shape that we can actually get something out of and actually, use effectively. Now, this obviously a lot depends on who is fit, who is able to play. Now, in this shape here, I've gone for Jack Butland in goal, which is a standard. That is the thing. 3 centre halves. Now, if Leon Balogun is fit, I think you start Leon Balogun. If he isn't fit, you play Ben Davis there. I think Davis can actually do quite well as part of a 3, as he won't have, as kind of as much of a I need to kind of man-to-man mark anybody or to go with anybody in particular. Dujon Sterling in the middle of that 3, because he can also, drop. It can be a flexible formation, this one as well, where you could actually drop it back to a back 4, where Ridvan and Tav drop back in as fullbacks. Dujon drops forward into the midfield to make a diamond or make a 3, with Cantwell pushing forward to make a front 3. There's a kind of flexibility to this shape, I think. And also with Sterling in there, you can get him pushing onto McGregor or picking up Kyogo or doing a number of different jobs there to stop Celtic from creating and playing. You kind of take away a bit of the defensive responsibility from Tav there, because you've got, Souttar, Sterling, Balogun. You can even move Souttar into the centre, Sterling to the right side of centre-back. And then you can you could even drop it into a 4-3-3 where, Tav kind of goes to the right side of that midfield 3. Ridvan drops back. Sterling goes to right back again. There's a lot of sort of fluidity to this formation, And Clement has spoken, hasn't he, about wanting to have a fluidity to his team and players interchanging positions. I've gone for Raskin, Diomande and Cantwell as a 3. Possibly a bit light there. You may want to go for Lundstrom there. I don't personally want to play Lundstrom. I just think you've got 5 defenders there. You should have enough to hold them. Diomande can play that role. He can also create. Raskin with a bit of energy to go box to box. Cantwell with being the creator there. That's just a midfielder that's got some legs, to go box to box, that's got legs to go with the Celtic midfield. And I think that is something that could be critical. I've gone for 2 up top. Now, likely, you could put Silva up top with Dessers. You could put Dessers and Roof and Silva. I think there's a number of combinations we could use there. And I actually think that Dessers could actually play better as part of a 2, as rather than being up front on his own. Now, I think if Dessers is up front on his own, it plays very much into the hands of Scales and Carter-Vickers. They like that physical, forward who'll go and stand up against them and try and push them and shove them and bully them about a bit like Dessers does. That's the sort of player they like to play against. So for me, this would just vary a little bit and give Carter-Vickers and Scales a whole new set of problems if they've got Roof to pick up, or if they've got Silva to pick up. Just something different there. If they're with Silva, Dessers up front, and Cantwell, again, you've got a shape there. Silva can go to the left, Cantwell to the right, or Cantwell to the left, Silva to the right. It just gives you some fluidity there. And a way to change formation, vary the points of attack, make it a bit more tricky for Celtic. Now, do I think this will happen? Probably not. That's not Philippe Clement's way. He's a 4-2-3-1 man. But I just thought it was something interesting to look at, to see, could we change shape, formation, throw Celtic a bit of a curveball, be a bit more fluid, get them off, catch them off guard, go up and unsettle them and get in their faces a little bit. I think, one of the things for me that has to happen on Saturday is we get in their faces. We play quick. We press high. When you do that against them, they fold like a cheap suit. We've seen that in Europe. European teams go to Parkhead and they press high, they press with speed, they get up in Celtic's faces, and Celtic fall apart. Look at their European record. Look at how teams have done that in Europe. And that's what we need to be looking to do on Saturday at Parkhead. Well, guys, let me know what you think of the stories we've covered in this morning, this afternoon, or this evening's news video, depending on obviously when you've picked up the video. Thank you very much for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. As always, please obviously subscribe to the channel, help us to keep on growing. We are aiming to try and get to 6,000 subs by the season's end. It's going to be tough, I know, but as close as we can get, the better. And on the way out, 2 things I always ask of you. Number 1, smash the like for me. And number 2, remember always, we are the people.